Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Just Friends with Abdullah, your host, me. On my show, appreciate the support and love you've been showing me. I've announced my second return a few weeks ago, and as promised, I will continue to provide you content on a consistent level and obviously continue to diversify my approach and the things that I'm planning to do. Today's show is a little bit different. I'm not really going by a script or having any points written down before I did this video. It was something that I decided on a whim. The topic, I mean, not the show. I feel like it's going to be a little bit of a different approach, and perhaps it's an approach that you would appreciate. I'm calling this segment, and this is something I will do repeatedly in the future, reflections. Things that I've personally reflected on in my life, things that I've been through from different experiences, interacting with people, and not just that, things that I've also seen and situations that I've seen across the world and everywhere that I've been through. This is not just something personal. These are things that I just noticed for myself, and maybe it will be a little bit of motivation, or also your own self-reflection on things, on how you look at your life and your perspectives, and what are the things you're trying to focus on and hone in. And really enhance in the way that you view your life as a person. So, reflection number one that I, realized, I guess, in the last few years, especially in the last 12 months, there's always a second chance. What do I mean by that? For some reason, I think when you're going through a crisis or a situation in life, whether it's personal, financial, relationship, anything that happens to you, you think it's doom and gloom and you think your life is over. And what tends to happen is that we shrink our environment and our mindset because of what has happened to us. We don't really look at things objectively because we're emotionally attached to a situation that you may have felt that caused your downfall, and you don't think there's a way out. What I'm here to tell you is that 1 month is 30 days. 30 days is 24 hours. I mean, that's obvious, right? But it's actually a lot of time. And it's a lot of time to recalibrate, to get your shit in order, and try again. So what I mean is that there are second chances, and third chances, and fourth chances, and fifth chances in whatever that you do, whether it's a business that you try to set up and failed, whether it is trying to build something real with someone genuine, whether it is screwing up at the place, at an employment place that you worked in, and not having that second chance. You're always going to get a second attempt at life, a third attempt at whatever that you do. There is plenty of time. You hear these stories all the time of people recalibrating. They have a second phase, they get an enlightenment in their 40s and 50s, and they just realize they've had enough. They push on and they push forward to whatever they're trying to achieve in life. And for those people, they get to their 40s and their 50s. Imagine you, someone maybe in your 20s and 30s. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. I know it's such a cliche line, but that's so true. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. And you'll always get to have a second chance and a third chance. The point is that you can't, be negative and be too down on yourself and fall into a depression phase that can be a continuous vicious cycle. And I think we spoke about in the past, I made a video about disappointment and depression, and how a disappointment can lead into a depression, a clinical depression that can cause you so much harm in the long term. So reflection number one, man, life always presents you a second chance. So don't beat yourself down to it, and don't worry too much about it. Reflection number two, you will never know unless you try. You always see this with people. They always try to label something that they don't know, or they put a negative disposition or a fearful disposition on something that they've never tried, simply because they don't know how it feels, or they've never experienced it. We always hesitate towards making a step that might change our life dramatically. And I get it. I think it's our mental mechanism to protect us first. It's our instinct to protect how we feel, to avoid pain. And I think that's completely normal. That's just human. That's how we operate with many things that we do in life. But ultimately, life or progression or enhancement doesn't come without its risks. And you will never know how you feel about something unless you actually try it. So many things failed or didn't actually accomplish or didn't even start because of this mentality of never willing to try and seeing how it is. Listen, I'm also a victim of this. I'm someone who is comfortable, who likes to keep the peace, who likes things in a comfortable, zen, serene way, and not really try things and do things that I'm not too sure or confident of. Maybe I play the percentage games better than most people. Some people like to make it 100%. I'm willing to take a chance between 70 to 80% if I'm feeling good about something, right? But below that, it's kind of iffy for me. And I think that is usually people's standard way of looking at anything that they do. But what I've taught myself and what I've also realized is you will never know unless you try. You will never understand how that situation feels unless you actually experience it and go through with it and try it. Trial and error with everything that you do. And this is something that you, I think, gradually get accustomed to, get used to. It grows on you. It's not a shift that happens overnight, but it's all about that first step, right? And that first step is really just seeing, okay, you know what, something different. Why not just go for it? Yeah, I mean, people like to play it safe, and you know what they say: you never win if you never win big if you're safe. Now, I'm not saying that you need to go crazy and do something extremely irrational or stupid, bungee jumping. No, I'm kidding. Bungee jump is nice, but generally speaking, I think you need to develop a mindset of willingness to try things before you cast judgment upon them, and see where it takes you. I think that will be the path to know more about yourself. You discover new sides about yourself you've never knew before, and at the same time, you realize things are not that big of a deal. And when that's reflected across all aspects of your life, not just the thing that you're considering to do, it gives you more freedom. It allows you to have a fresher perspective, and it really liberates you. The third thing that I've been reflecting on, and I still reflect on it actually, almost on daily basis, is that not everyone is the same. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by not everyone is the same? You see, when you deal with people, I think I encourage the idea of getting to know someone and understand where their headspace is at, right? If you want to have the best relationships with people, men, women, whoever you're dealing with, take your time in understanding someone's perspective. Take your time in understanding how their mind works. And when you take that time and that effort to really understand where they're coming from, it makes a lot of things much more smoother and easier, especially for you. What I meant by people are different is obviously people share similar traits. Obviously people have similar features, right, in terms of how they think, how they proceed, all of that. And you could say someone is like that person and label it in a box. But ultimately, there are certain unique characteristics or certain unique triggers about every person that you, as someone who, say, want to develop a relationship or a friendship or whatever it is, or just a better line of communication, those are the things that you really need to put some effort in order to get the outcome that you need. That effort could be by speaking with them, seeing their angle, understanding if they really feel about certain things in a certain way and what they like and what they dislike, how they view, right? I mean, I had a situation where there was somebody who I knew who I was flirting with, but I was flirting with them in a very racy manner, let's put it that way. And for me, that's just casual fun flirting, but they felt like it was a bit too soon for the level of where we are with each other in terms of where we stand or where we talk. And I was like, you know what, I respect that, and I think I get it, right? Because everybody perceives things differently. I think from her perspective, for example, when she saw me talking in that way, she probably felt like, this guy is a player. He's angling for a certain something, or he's probably viewing something in a certain way, and he's not interested in getting to know me as who I am as a person. And actually, from my perspective, I'm like, you know what? It's fun to just. It adds a bit of spice. It's an enjoyable teasing or banter or flirtation, whatever you want to call it. And I like to add that spin. That's just, I see it personally harmless, but they don't think of it like that. So that's part of that developing phase of getting to know a person's mind and how they really view things. And why I say people are different is because it's so obvious why there's so much breakdown in terms of just communication, or not being in the picture, or just you see people being isolated from each other and not wanting to speak or spend time. And it's because of this, because nobody makes an effort to understand the person they're associated with, right? And nobody tries to have an effort and understand, this person views things in that way. You could probably say that these things come with time, with hanging out, but I think if you develop perceptive ability to really read someone's behavior, really understand where they're coming from early on, right? It just makes your dealing with them a lot better. For example, I have a friend of mine who quickly understood that I am the kind of person that prefers to call him to hang out and plan instead of him calling me. Not that I don't want to hang out or spend time, but I kind of know myself. And when someone calls me to hang out, and I've had this in the past, when someone calls me to hang out and I turn them down, they kind of take it as, okay, this person doesn't want to chill with me, he's not really a friend, disrespect for some people, oddly enough, but I get it. For some people it feels disrespectful or distant, or why am I making the effort, and they shut down. The friend that I'm speaking on, early on he understood that this is just my way of communication, right? I have certain times I feel like doing certain things, and certain times I like to podcast, talk to you guys, or just do things alone, or have my own space with how I function. And he quickly picked on that and understood, and we have an amazing relationship. And of course he calls me from time to time to hang out, and we do hang out sometimes, and sometimes we don't, but he doesn't take it personal, or he doesn't even stress about it, even worry about it. He knows how I move and how I operate mentally. So that's part of that learning process, right? Understanding who that person is, and knowing how they move and how they think. So yeah, just people are very different, man, and you have to accept that not everybody's going to be on your wavelength. But I think as a compromise, or not as a compromise, as a way to get that wavelength a little bit more in tune, you gotta learn more about them. You gotta learn how they feel about things, how they perceive things. How they view life in general. And from there, I think it's going to be an easier process. It's an easier integration of friendship, relationship, communication, work, whatever it is. It's going to be a lot more smoother to handle. And of course, ultimately, it will lead to better friendships, better relationships, whatever you are involved in. My last reflection, this may take a bit of a darker shift to it, is be careful who you are yourself with 100% all the time. Why do I say that? I think people are at their most vulnerable state when they are themselves 100%. When someone is themselves 100%, they are saying to you, I can be who I am, and I know you're not going to judge me, you're not going to abandon me, you're not going to look at me different or look at me funny. You're going to embrace me and accept me for who I am. And while that's beautiful, and I think it's something nice to look up to, I think more often than not, people get damaged and hurt, and things backfire on them. Reason being is because you will end up meeting people that do not truly accept you 100%. And listen, I don't think you need to be surprised. Not everyone can handle you at 100%. Not everyone, I'm saying. Some people can, but not everyone. And that's because I think people are still suspicious, and there are some things that still irk people the wrong way. You don't know a person truly, right? You don't really know how a person truly feels about you in general. It might take years to know that there's something that you showed them, and you realize that they don't like it or they don't fancy being around it, right? Now, people make a balance. Some people balance it out by saying, look, there are plus and there are minuses in someone, right? And that's how I'm gonna deal with it. If the pluses are more than the minuses and I can somewhat tolerate the minuses, I don't really care what they show me. But there are some people who, when you show them your 100% self, they may take it the wrong way. Now, them taking it the wrong way or not liking certain aspects of who you are is not really a problem. I think that's a normality in life. I think the problem is your reaction. What I've seen, and this has happened to so many people, is that they tend to shrink and isolate themselves from others. They start saying that people are, hurtful, that I don't want to be meeting, potential suitors, I don't want to, date, or I don't want to have friends, or I don't want to hang out in certain societies, or this person is too judgmental, or this person is that, and this person is that. I think, from my perspective, if someone is thinking like that, I think you're being unrealistic, and this is a message to you if you're someone who does think on that way. You're being a bit unrealistic. Nobody is expected to accept you 100% fully, except very few people. In fact, it's probably impossible to find someone that accepts everything about you 100% in life. It's hard, right? There are some people for sure, but it's hard. So what I mean is, when you want to show that full side and be super comfortable in who you are, get to know the person in and out of the one that you're showing this to. Before you truly show everything about you, get to know them. Get to know that they're the kind of person that no matter what, they will love you and like you and want to be around you, even if you show them some weird kinky stuff about yourself, It's possible, right? Even if you share some weird disgusting detail about something that has happened when you were sexually active, or some stupid activity. So you have to be a little bit more perceptive when you understand the soul of a person and how they look at people and how they perceive life, and what are the things that they enjoy being around you, right? Maybe someone enjoys being around you because you're not somebody who talks in a vulgar and disrespectful manner. But if they see that side of you, you're disrespectful and vulgar, and you raise your voice and you curse at everybody, they're like, damn, I didn't know this person was talking like that. I don't want to be around them. This is what I mean. What I mean is that it's your job to also understand how the other person who receives the behavior or or your words, how they actually process it, right? So that's on you, right? It's not on them. Their reaction is totally normal, because there are some things people don't like, even if they know you in and out. And there are some people that they brush it off. I have a friend who is crazy. I personally have a friend who says some crazy wild things about I don't want to say anything here, but just about some crazy topics worldwide, things that are happening right now. But he has some, on the level of maybe fascist opinions, I would say, very linear, very extremist opinions. But I know him. I know what kind of person he is. I know he just does these things because he's frustrated about things that are happening in his life. So I don't take it too seriously. So that's the level I'm talking about. That's the level of people and depth that I'm talking about when it comes to other persons, right? So be careful who you reveal yourself to. Just take your time, get to know people, and don't be yourself 100%, because you will definitely be hurt, scarred for a very long time, maybe even for life. And I think you will also, not want to meet others, or even develop doubt in everyone, which I think is just crazy and unsustainable. That's it, guys, for reflections today. Maybe I'll do more. I have a few more reflections that I would like to talk about, but I think 4 is enough for today. Let me know on your thoughts. What do you think about these 4? Let me know if you like this kind of approach and segment. And don't forget to like and subscribe on the show. Talk to you soon.